All right, here looks like we're live on YouTube, Facebook, on StreamYard there. Welcome everybody. Let's see. Webinar Jam should be going live here in a second. There we go. Awesome. Cool. Fantastic, man. Well, yeah, like we were saying, I'm really excited to do this challenge with you, Trevor, specifically. And then I know we're getting involved. You guys have that virtual summit coming up that we're going to be, a few of us will be speaking at, right?
Dude, yeah, it's coming up quick, man. When we were originally starting to plan it at the start of the year, it seemed like a world away, but now we're a couple months away. And the last couple of times we've done it, we've had 3,000 to 4,000 people register for the summit. So I'm pumped you guys are gonna be involved with us.
Yeah, I mean, it's been. I remember last year we had a few of us speak at it, and it was, I mean, fantastic communities in general that you guys attract. So,
awesome. I love it.
Yeah. Fantastic. Well, as you guys jump in here, feel free to say where you're watching from. Love to say hello in the chat, if especially if you're on the webinar jam. Jump in the chat there and try to network with each other. I know this is something that we want you guys to hold each other accountable. These next 14 days, this challenge together is something that we're excited to be giving you the playbook, to be walking you through. But if you have other people going through this with you too, that goes a long way. Especially being able to jump in the chat, network with each other too. I mean, you'll be able to potentially find future business partners. I've done these before. We've had people literally do deals together that they met on a challenge together. So make sure to do that in the chat. If you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, you'll see a little ticker scrolling at the bottom right there. If you go to that URL, it's carrot.com/14DC. Going there will be a free registration for the next live trainings on this challenge. And if you register there too, you'll be on the email list to get the homework, to get the giveaways, to get all the details. So if you're watching on social, make sure to go to that link too. And you can watch today on YouTube and Facebook, but make sure you register there so that way you become part of the email list and are following through and getting invites to everything in this challenge. So
I love it, dude. There's people popping in from all over. We've got a fellow Oregonian, Ashton. What's up? I love it. People from all over the place: Cincinnati, San Diego, Arizona, Columbus, Ohio. Guys, I love the exclamation points, the double, the triple exclamation points.
Get fired up.
I love the people excited on here. Amazing.
Great stuff. Awesome. And then, I mean, really for this whole challenge too, I mean, we can talk about why we've teamed up before. We love putting out content with Carrie. We've done past trainings before and had Trevor on our YouTube channel a ton, kind of educating our audience. He's done our master classes. We brought him in to speak to our members directly. If you're on DealMachine Pro and up, you get invited to those. So we've definitely teamed up quite a bit before, but in general, everything that we do over here, our mission is to give everyone the power of real estate investing using technology. And we, in the end, are a tool to help make you more successful, but we're just that. We're a tool. Yep. We're something that can help enable you, but you've got to take action. You've got to run with it, not just sit back and absorb the information, but to act on it. So that's what the goal with this challenge is to give you that fast start to come in here and, there we go. Move that over. Give you these next 14 days, the playbook of how to get out there quickly, how to start making things happen, planning for the short term, and then also building up for the long term to be successful in a way that can scale and keep getting more and more and more effective, which is why I think together we're such a fun combination. So do you want to maybe talk about that, Trevor, too, about who Carrot is and like for you guys, like why teaming up together is such a fun thing to do?
Dude, for sure. And right now, one piece of context I want to give everyone too, Matt, is where we are in the market right now, guys. We're so much focus on data. And we always go, where's the data going? Let's follow the data. And we very rarely, if ever, say, hey, this is a strategy we should do without the data backing up. And one thing, we have a program called the Epic program. It's our highest level clients, a lot of 7-figure earners in there. And I was on a call with them a couple months ago, and they were looking at the data on their Google pay-per-click side of things, going, man, our ROIs in Q4 and into Jan, Feb were lower than normal. And some of them were starting to pull back. I said, guys, the data is showing that in the spring and where we are right now in what I call the shoulder market, we'll probably talk about that a little bit in this 14-day challenge. Where we are is I really feel that demand is going to be what I call hitting equilibrium. We're going to be closing a lot more deals in the next 6, 8, 10, 12 months. And so when those same people came back on last month's Epic call and they took my advice and they doubled down on the marketing channels rather than pulling back. One of the guys, Marco Padilla, has about a $2 million wholesale business. He does driving for dollars as well. Does a lot of online. He's like, dude, I followed your advice. I doubled down on these marketing channels, even though his data was telling him not to. And he locked down 10 contracts that 30 days. And so you guys are here at a perfect time. I think if you would have been taking this challenge 90 days ago, there might have been a little bit more just market dynamics that were making it a little bit harder to get some of those leads into deals. But we're at a perfect spot in the market now where the lead to deal ratio is increasing. It's getting better. And by us partnering together here, you've got the amazing offline side of it. The offline side with DealMachine, where you're not going to be able to find a lot of those properties on a list sometimes. And also a lot of those properties aren't people who are hitting the internet and searching yet. Maybe they are, but maybe they're not. So you get the offline part of it where it's the highest quality possible direct mail list you can find, and you've got all the data and all the resources that DealMachine has in there that Carrot doesn't. And then you got the online part. And what we always say is all offline marketing drives online demand. When people get a DealMachine postcard or they get a call or a text from someone who's found the property and you skip trace it on DealMachine, one of the first things people are going to do is they're going to pull up the darn cell phone and they're going to go, let me Google search this company. Let me see if they're legit. And we're going to be teaching you during this challenge how to kind of pair the two together, how to get really active marketing going right now to find those distressed properties through DealMachine. But then how do we make that work even better through tightening up your online presence? And then how do we add in the most motivated leads possible, which are the ones who are actively searching out on Google how to sell? So they just work perfectly together. And every time I work with either a new investor or an experienced one, I'm always like, are you guys driving for dollars? And eventually hand that off to someone else so you're not having to do it. And then are you guys building your momentum online too? So we're going to tackle both in this challenge. It's going to be fun.
Absolutely. Fantastic, man. Yeah, I mean, it's something that, we're, again, love teaming up with you on that. Love trying to share that you can win in the short term, be extremely proactive, get that fast start out there, and then also build that foundation for the long term. And like you said, when you go out there and you're trying to find off-market deals, you're driving for dollars, which today I'm going to be really training you guys on, okay, here's the exact playbook to go out there, to not have to reinvent the wheel and to find the most motivated leads right now in your market through driving for dollars. Like I'll be going through that today. Again, if you use DealMachine to do it, awesome. That's phenomenal. Like love, that's what we, really are most known for, is our driving for dollars, technology. But regardless if you're using DealMachine or not, the playbook that we're giving you here today, you'll be able to take action on and get started quickly. And then, like you said, hey, the first thing they're going to do is going to look at your online presence, going to look you up to figure out like, hey, who's trying to contact me right here. Yep. And, being able to work with Carrot on that front to have that online presence waiting and have that authority online waiting to instantly build credibility and trust with people is huge. So that's what we were really talking through in this challenge, like you said. And we'll, at the end here, we'll kind of show you like, hey, here's what the next 14 days and even the month of June can look like for you. Cool. We have a lot planned out for you guys to be able to really help you succeed here. I do want to mention as well, in terms of market timing right now, like Trevor just said, just echoing what he mentioned, it is such a good time to get into this. You're more invaluable as an investor or wholesaler now in times of uncertainty, regardless of where the market is for sellers. Hey, you're offering certainty. You're offering these different tools to them. You can help them sell for cash. You can help them sell as is. You can help them sell, not work with not to pay realtor commissions. There's a million reasons they could potentially work with you. And so right now is the time to step up and take action. And again, not have to reinvent the wheel, but take the right actions over and over and over again that we will lay out for you guys here over these next 14 days. So,
dude, let me read I'm looking at my cell phone. Let me read a text message that I got from one of our clients, and amazing investor out of Louisville. And these are the types of deals, guys, that are popping up even more right now. And so if anyone's going, man, there's not deals out there, it's hard to find deals, I can guarantee you we're actually seeing the deal velocity increase right now. So this client sent me this. I've been funding a lot of his deals. We partnered on some deals as well. Said, hey, man, I just landed a 5-house package of 3-bedroom, 2-bath properties. This was yesterday at 12:13 p.m. Okay. So just landed a 5-house package of 3-bedroom, 2-bath properties, $75,000 each in Louisville. They're each worth $160,000, $375,000 total. I need to close by the end of the month. I can send you details on it. We said, I bet I can sell them all for $500,000 to $600,000. They're all right next to each other on the same street. And so when you look at this is a person who is looking to exit from part of their rental portfolio. They've owned the properties for a long time. There's some burdens that they have that they don't want to take care of right now. And so as a real estate investor, a problem solver, he's able to come in and solve this problem that would be a little bit more difficult, or a lot more difficult to be able to solve in the retail market. And so when you're looking at the dynamic that we're in right now, people will ask, well, why don't they just sell it in the retail market? Well, it's even harder today for a seller to sell some of these properties in the retail market, maybe at the speed or the convenience that they're looking for, or maybe the agent doesn't really know how to deal with some of those tougher situations like this one here. You might look at that and on face value, you go, why don't they list the properties for sale on the market? Well, this seller can't. Okay, there's a certain pain point that he's going through that cannot be solved with that. And this client of ours is going in and solving that, paying the number that seller is asking for. So he didn't even negotiate that down. And that's one thing. If you're newer in the business, one of the mindset shifts to really transcend through is there will be people, especially in the real estate agent side or the traditional retail side, who will say, well, aren't investors taking advantage of people, or offering lower than market offers? Well, no, investors are not taking advantage of people when they do things correctly, right? That's not the business model. Just like in any business, even real estate agents or attorneys or whatever it is, there's always the bad apples. But this model is solving problems no one else can solve. They cannot be solved in the retail market. And they're able to make a quick cash offer because you are able to solve the problem, and you're doing it at a fair price that works for them. And just like if you were to sell your property, or you were to sell a car at the car lot, right? You go down to that car lot, and in exchange for speed and convenience, when you're buying a car and they say, hey, you have a car to trade in, most of us are going to go, yeah, I'd like to trade this in. I don't want to go to Craigslist and list it and then have to go through all the hassles for an extra $3,000-4,000, even though you're leaving $3,000 to $4,000 on the table. Okay, it's a similar thing. It's speed and convenience. That's a savvy seller. When Bo is coming in and solving a real problem, and he's going to end up making $200,000 to $300,000 on this within 30 days, which is crazy, guys. So this is the type of stuff we're teaching you, the exact ways that Bo is finding these deals. He's a one-man show, y'all. He doesn't have a big team. He doesn't have a bunch of people. He's a one-man show, 7-figure guy. And so we'll show you some of the principles that he's using a lot of our other clients.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I know, that is a great, way to kind of paint that mindset is you are a problem solver. You're bringing that to the table where, like you said, hey, you can bring speed and convenience and a cash offer like that, in trading for, equity in solving that problem and, providing that service to people. So, I think that's a great way to approach it. But just a reminder for people too, I was answering in the chat here. If you're on the webinar jam, you will get the follow-up emails. You're in the challenge. Awesome. If you are watching on Facebook or YouTube, it's not too late. Make sure to go to carrot.com/14DC to be able to get into this challenge, and make sure you're on the email list for when we send out the homework, do the giveaways, all that stuff, and get the reminders for the following live trainings. So, cool. I do want to mention again, like you said, why most investors don't get started is not being able to find that great deal. It's having that problem of not knowing what are the exact action steps that we need to take to go out there and do what Bo's doing, and to do what people like, David has done with building his own business and building up DealMachine. Over the next 14 days, we're going to lay that out for you. And really where a lot of this comes from is from David's own personal story right here, where he was somebody that was, in St. Louis with me here. I grew up with the guy. He moved out to Indianapolis and was trying to, figure out a kind of a new direction for his career. He was somebody who, had been in tech, so he had a tech background, and which is, hence DealMachine. But, he had never actually taken action on getting into real estate. He had some limiting beliefs, feeling like he needed to know everything before he got started. And he was doing things like, coming on webinars, or he'd listened to podcasts, or he'd read, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, as, many of you probably have too. He knew that real estate was the number one wealth generating tool, available, but he just hadn't taken action on exactly what to do to get into it. And for him, when he was moving to Indianapolis, he took that year in that new market to say, okay, cool. I know I need to get into this. I know this is something that I long-term want to do. Let me figure out how to do it. And so 1 year later, he had the dream car. He had the dream life. He was living on the beach. Not quite. not quite there yet. He learned a lot. He learned a lot in that year. He went through this, and these lessons that he learned is what created DealMachine today. And for him, his first one is he went on market. He looked at things like this, looked at maps like this, tried to run the numbers to figure out if a deal would cash flow, if he could find a property that would be wholesaleable, if you're going to take that route. Was like finding a needle in a haystack. Was really banging his head against the wall, could not make it work. Next, he tried bulk lists. He said, okay, hey, let me try to find a way to, get access to some list or pull some lists here and there that's very broad and just start marketing to them. And he would try to write down these, handwritten letters right here and figure out like, okay, let me try to get in touch with these people and mail it out. And, I'm going to send out a couple letters and, the deals are going to just start coming in. And did not quite work that way. He realized when I have access to these lists like this, a lot of other people do too. And these are going to be competitive leads that probably already getting a bunch of offers or get a bunch of people already blowing up their phone. And you've probably gotten these texts too. Like I know I have, texts and calls that, I wasn't a qualified lead, but it was somebody just reaching out to a broad list like this. So, hey, he realized that route's not going to work either. And the thing that he heard as he started to network locally was this term driving for dollars, meaning get in your car, drive around, look for fixer-upper properties, look for physically distressed houses, and try to get in touch with those owners. And the reason being that, signs of physical motivation, the tarp on the roof, the gutters falling off, signs that it's a vacant house, that is the number one indicator that this could be a potentially motivated seller. So he realized, okay, let me try to do that. Started to drive for dollars, and he learned another big lesson doing this particular strategy is he would drive around. He would find houses like this, 1433 right here. He'd drive past it, 6 months, a year later, and it looked like this. And he'd say, man, that was a great lead. I'm glad I wrote that lead down. They didn't sell to me. What happened? And he realized, okay, me doing this strategy, I can find really, really good properties. I can find the right, actually motivated sellers. But I need to follow up with them consistently enough that they're going to actually think of me and going to actually have a conversation with me when they are ready to sell, when the timing's right. So he went through this whole journey trying to figure out, okay, how do I solve this for myself? I learned these two lessons. David said, hey, I know that the best deals, the deals that actually make sense on paper, are when you go directly to seller and you can find people who are motivated and can't have their problem solved by going retail. And you can, again, offer speed and convenience and cash to go quickly for them. But I need to find enough of those people and reach out to them enough times that I can actually, do a deal, that I can actually, make the numbers work and treat this like a bit of a marketing funnel, really. So we realized, okay, I need to go off market to find these truly motivated sellers and unlock deals that make sense. So for him, he created this is version 1, which looks a little different today. I don't know if you even remember what iPhone looked like.
Oh yeah,
but yeah. It was.
I remember when it first came out, man, and people were talking about DealMachine. One quick little kind of side story, and I'll toss it back to you, Matt.
Yeah,
is what you're walking through here is so cool because when oftentimes when we start something, we start the very manual way, right? I remember hearing a phrase years ago that to really get momentum, you do things that don't scale at the start. And just like you're saying, David was literally just driving around and manually sending stuff out, writing the letters, forgetting about follow-up, or he would start to plug it in. Then he goes, well, how do I now take these things that I started to find are working that really don't scale if I have to do them with my time? And now how do I make them so they scale? And Brian Rockwell, one of our customers, one of our really successful case studies out of Dallas, Texas, we've shared his story a bunch. And he was a school teacher. He had the dream to get into real estate for years and years and years, but he didn't have the cash to really dive in and invest a ton into marketing. So he just took a new route every day from school to his house, and he drove a different neighborhood. And he would literally write down the address. This was probably 6-7 years ago. He would write down the address. He would then go home, handwrite letters, and he sent out a couple hundred. And he landed his first deal, made him about $8,000. And he said, I don't want to do that process again, right? Because it was really tedious. Everything was so manual and based off of him remembering it. And so that's where DealMachine came in then to automate something that and scale it, something that works. So he took that $8,000, reinvested it into Carrot so he could scale into the inbound marketing, and then really added in a tool DealMachine to be able to scale out the driving for dollars that work to get him his first big deal.
Love that. Yeah. I mean, I think you nailed it there too. David's journey, very similar. When he started to drive like that, he was writing down addresses by hand. He would spend, 30, 40 minutes just trying to look up info and create a little postcard and mail them out. And so that's why he created this kind of version 1. Yeah. What for himself, especially, was, hey, you've got, he did 2 main things. 1, he made it easy to build this list, just pin properties and keep building it. And then 2, he made it easy to automate your marketing to it, where he would send out these mailers, and you can see, like, it says resend every 21 days. You can on repeat send these mail pieces, through V1 right here, and, be able to actually stay top of mind. So that way, that you have a good lead, you have somebody who, may be motivated at some point, and, when the timing is right and they are, looking to sell quickly, hey, they think of you because you're the one who's been reaching out to them over time, and you're staying top of mind, and, your postcards on top of the mail pile or on the fridge or saved in their phone, and they're ready to call. So,
love it.
That's really where it came from to start with. For himself, he started to do deals like this because he created DealMachine to help aid him in, being able to buy and hold properties like this, build great cash flow from it, buy right. So there's automatic, quickly equity in there. Fixed it up and made it look like this, 7132 Grandview. Did it again, 7114 Grandview, where he bought it, renovated it up, did the BRRRR strategy here, built great equity in there, and, fixed it up and looks like this now. And he did this over and over again, where he built his own financial freedom. He was able to, build a 5-figure monthly income, built amazing equity and value in his portfolio pretty quickly, and had people start to reach out to him saying, hey, how are you doing this? Like, what are you doing here to be able to help aid you in this process? And so for him, he went and said, okay, let me create, an app that everyone can have here to make this entire process quicker and easier and more efficient, more effective. So I share this background just to show you guys the story of, like, where we're coming from here, showing that it's David's playbook that we're going to be sharing with you guys over these 14 days. Again, our whole mission is to give everyone the power of real estate investing. And we're proud to say we're the highest rated, most reviewed app out there for finding, for this direct outreach off-market deal, structure. I've had over 10,000 deals done on the DealMachine app doing this. So really wanted to give you that background of the playbook we give you. It's David and those 10,000 people. It's people like Ryan right here, who he went through a 30-day challenge. On day 17, he landed a deal. And he's done over 400 deals since then, using the exact steps we're going to be sharing with you guys. Cody Surza right here too. He's somebody who is kind of more, in the middle of his, real estate investing journey, consistently now doing a couple deals a month with the stuff that we're going to be sharing with you guys here today. And then it's also Patrick Martin here, who he was, again, it went from, sleeping in his truck, trying to figure out how to change his life situation. In his first 10 months after finding this, did 14 wholesale deals, $150K in wholesale fees, and changed his life through this.
Love it.
It's so cool to see, like, this is what we're in it for. We wouldn't be a company if we weren't providing value like this. So the playbook we give you again today, whether you're using DealMachine or not, use these strategies, use this playbook to get out there, to go, to have that fast start, to start finding these off-market deals. And then again, on the back end of that, we're going to be building in your long-term strategy. And at the end of this, we'll share a few bonuses with you guys to try this out. And then also, kind of lay out what the next 14 days can look like, and even the month of June for you too. So want to make sure to give you guys that context, share the story from David of why he started this and what the goal with DealMachine was. And if you're, again, watching on YouTube, make sure to go to that care.com/14DC to be invited to, the homework and get the emails and all that following up over these next 14 days. So that's the goal here. I know each Wednesday we're going to be doing these live trainings. So here's the first one. Next Wednesday, we're doing the next one. The following, the final wrap up. We'll have to check the start times because we're adjusting it a little bit here so that way everybody can be good to go for those. I'll have to double check when the next one is, but it's around this time of day. But make sure to check the start times, and you're going to be getting emails from me about that. So just pay attention to your email there. Each of these trainings, we're going to give you the playbook, help you overcome challenges, and really try to hold you accountable for the homework that we assign each week. Every other day, it's go do that homework. It's getting out there. This is not a passive challenge. Like, we're giving you, again, we're going to be going into the nuts and bolts here and really show you exactly how to do it. And you'll be able to give you specific next steps. So that way you're not just watching these every Wednesday, but hey, here's the exact homework to take, each time that we get on here live. So, and throughout this, we're going to bribe you a little bit too. We're going to give you with that homework. If you complete the homework, again, make sure to pay attention to your email to turn it in. If you complete the homework each week, we're going to be giving away over $6,000 in free stuff. So love to be doing this over the next 2 weeks for you guys. So make sure if you complete the homework, you're going to and turn it in, you qualify for these giveaways. So pay attention to that email. We're going to follow up with that here, throughout the week. And, the first one we're giving away is going to be worth over $1,200 for you too. So wanted to make sure to kind of give you the rundown before we jump into today's training. Trevor, did I miss anything there before we actually get into this?
No, dude. I think the biggest thing we'll kind of add on there is, like you said, we want to give context up to this point. Now we're going to be diving into the tactics. The way that I think about training and teaching is, back in the day, I would dive in and teach tactic, which is what everyone wants, right? Everyone wants to come on and go, give me the list, give me the thing, the words. That's all great. But what I was finding was, unless people had the vision on where we're going and why and how that looks, and then the strategy on what are those steps over the next 12 to 18 months, and then the tactics don't work for most people, or they can't picture how those tactics build into the strategy and the vision. So we gave a little bit about that vision, how they work together, what that may look like, a little bit of the strategy at the high level. Hey, and then we're going to dive deeper on the strategy and tactics now throughout, which can be really, really exciting.
Love it. Awesome. So excited to dig into this for you guys as well. For today's live training, the main focus for today is going to be really showing you, hey, here's how to build that list of potentially highly motivated sellers, the best list of leads in your market in terms of coming in and finding people who have all the signs of being potentially a motivated seller here. So that's what we're going to be focused on today. I know next Wednesday is going to be really focused on, okay, now that you've built that list, how do you start to market to them proactively? And then, wrap up on that final training on, like, hey, here's how to start closing deals, and here's how to think about your long-term strategy as well when it comes to thinking about Carrot and your online presence as well. But for this initial training, and again, we will send out the replay. If you are on the webinar jam, you're going to get that replay. You're already signed up. You just pay attention to your email. If you're on social media, make sure to register. That we got the URL at the bottom of that ticker, or the bottom of the screen, that ticker going across. Make sure to register there to be able to get these follow-up replays and the homework and everything there too. But our goal with this is to teach you the driving for dollars approach, which, again, to define that is really saying, hey, get in your car, drive around, or virtually do this, which we'll teach you that too. Drive around, look for rundown properties, look for houses that have physical distress in some way. And it can be, really obvious. It could be signs of vacancy, the, broken boarded up windows, the front yard, backyard's a mess, the window, weeds growing through the concrete, stuff like that. It can be less obvious too. I know, one example that I use often is one of our first hires. He was practicing what we preach using DealMachine. Did his first deal because he found a house that had Halloween decorations up, and it was like March.
So gotcha. Yeah.
Hey, for whatever reason, they're just not keeping up with the outside appearance of the house. Might as well reach out. So it could be little things like that too, where you just pick up on it, like a really overstuffed mailbox, or it's things are just outdated, like those old school aluminum awnings, on houses, things like that. You'll pick up in your market. And the more you do this, the more you'll get better at finding the obvious stuff, the tarps on the roof, things falling off, all the way through to the less obvious stuff as you do this over and over. Again, the other thing that's great about this type of lead is you're finding houses that are the least competitive leads out there too, because like you said at the beginning of this, you're finding houses that may or may not show up on a list already. These are houses that might be the diamonds in the rough that no one is talking to, that you have put in that extra effort. There's a barrier there of getting out there and driving around and finding the houses. Like, not everyone's going to be willing to do that or be doing that. Whereas it's really easy to just click and find a list of leads. You can do that in DealMachine too. Like, just spend 2 minutes and you can pull a list of leads. But you're finding the ones that aren't going to be obvious showing up on those other lists, and targeting those specifically because it's higher intent, it's higher, higher quality and less competitive overall as well. So,
dude, one of the things I want people to think of this mindset shift, and especially for those who are newer, who are wanting to dive into real estate, is I always think about, when I'm doing lead generation, I always think about what are the highest leverage ways I can get leads, or what are the highest leverage leads I can get first. And kind of speaking of leverage, what is leverage? Well, leverage means I can do an activity and get a better result from that same level of activity. If I were to, just like you're talking, get a list of 5,000 names based off of code violations and pre-foreclosure, those are all good indicators, right? Those are all good indicators. The challenge is there's going to be a bunch of people, most of the people on there don't have a desire or a level of motivation where they're ready to sell, right? And so you're kind of casting this really, really wide net. It works, but you have to sift through a lot more leads. It's usually about 1 in 40 to 1 in 60 leads turn into a deal. And I'm talking a lead meaning someone actually picks up the phone and calls you from one of the direct mail piece by getting a standard list that you'll get out there. Now, that works, like I said, but over the years, your response rates have gone down on direct mail because there's the so competitive because everyone's pulling the same list. So your leverage for the dollar and time spent is gone down, and you actually have to spend more time now sifting through the bad leads. So when I'm starting, I always go, what's the highest leverage lead, the highest quality lead I can find? And then as you master that, then you can scale to less, lower leverage types of marketing, radio, TV, direct mail, things like that. So on the offline side, driving for dollars is the highest leverage type of offline lead you can find, because you're going to convert much more of those phone calls into a customer. I know David says, depending on the market, it's like, and you might get into this, but something like 1 in 3, you get 300 properties. In some markets, you get a deal. Some markets might be 500, and that's just adding them to the machine, or adding them to DealMachine. As far as phone calls go, you're actually going to have a much higher conversion rate on your driving for dollars leads than you're ever going to find on a normal direct mail list. Same thing with Carrot. It's about 1 in 5 to 1 in 10 leads turns into a deal when you do it through search engine optimization. Google ads, which we'll talk about in a future session of this 14-day challenge, is going to be more like 1 in 10 to 1 in 20 leads. So you have to go through 5 times fewer leads to get a deal with the type of marketing we're talking about in this challenge.
Love that. Yeah, like you said, it's about higher intent, higher quality leads, and higher leverage there. So you're absolutely right on that front. Before I jump into the actual technology to kind of show off exactly what to do here, I do want to mention, like, in terms of the kind of the magic numbers that we see, one of them is absolutely, like you said, 1 in 300 to 400, somewhere in that range is on average across the U.S. how many leads that you're qualified leads, so driving for dollars leads that you are consistently marketing to, that usually equals a deal. Like, that's kind of the ratio that we see overall. Like you said, if it's a higher, if it's a more competitive, like higher price point market, it's going to be more leads than that, but also typically a better payoff for the deal itself. Or, hey, if it's a lower price point, it could be lower leads than that as well. So it's kind of, depends on the market you're in. The big thing that we're really focused on with these next 14 days is really the magic number of 100. And why we really focus on 100 leads right here is that number of leads. When we look at the data, like, you may have your first deal in those first 100. We have people, I mean, literally there's a guy, Quentin, down in San Antonio, the 4th lead he added to DealMachine. It's live on our YouTube channel. He did a deal. Like, that can happen. You can call somebody and be right place, right time, and have a great conversation, and there you go. But to be doing this long-term scalable, not just doing one deal, but doing consistent deals, the number 100 is such a big turning point, because, hey, going through here, going through that once you get to that number, going through the data, we see a disproportional amount of people who hit that number that stick with this and that are building the right habits and are, it's like going to the gym or eating healthy. Like, they're putting the right habits in place that they're much, much more likely to continue to do this and stick around long-term and go do that first deal and do many deals after that, because they have put in the work to start off with, and they're starting to build momentum, and they're starting to snowball, and they're starting to see, oh, I get it now. Like, here's why I'm doing this, and really start to get better and better at this. So that's our main focus, is we want to get you guys to that number 100 as quick as possible, just because we know, hey, if you do that, you're setting yourself up for long-term success, regardless of if your first deal is in those first 100 leads or not. So
cool. I like it.
Yeah. So jumping into the actual, like, how-tos here, let me show this off. Can you see my screen there, hopefully?
Got it, man. Yep.
There we go. Good. Awesome, guys. So jumping into this right away, I know something to begin with, and I'll mention this on, within DealMachine, This is the web version, right? We have a mobile version too, right here, web and mobile, where if you are either one you're using, anytime you add a lead, anytime you do any activity on them, they instantly sync up. So, what you're seeing on the web version is just, smashed down on your screen for mobile. So it's pretty close in terms of the actual usability of it. I will mention this is kind of the satellite view right here, so you can see all those properties. It's just kind of the overall overview of St. Louis right here, South City. You'll see little dots start to pop up around me of each individual property, and where I can go here is if I click on the map options, I'll click over to standard view, and that'll just make it a little bit easier for you guys to see for the actual training itself. But a lot of people like the satellite view when they're out there driving around, and again, it's going to lock onto your location. So if you're on the mobile app and you're trying to drive for dollars here, it's going to lock on your location. You'll see a little blue dot right here, and as I drive down Illinois Avenue right here, it's going to move with me. If I see a house in real life, if I see 3825 right there, I can point at it, see that property. If it's rundown house in real life, click on it there. Simply click on that black dot, hit add lead, and you can move on to the next one where it's just going to pin that property. So simple as that. You're looking again for physical distress. You can even, if you point your phone at it, it'll actually overlay the address on the phone in real life right there. So we've got that built in too to make it really easy to know what you're looking at. But these black dots around you, those are all properties that you can add. The blue pins around you are all leads that you have added. And then the blue dots around you are all houses that have had an MLS status within the last 12 months or so. So you'll want to dig into those and know that, hey, that might not be the best lead if it's recently sold. Or, hey, maybe it is a good lead because it was a failed, expired listing there and, could be good to reach out to. So, that's where we can start. As simple as that. You've got all those dots around you. One thing, Trevor, I'm not sure if you've seen this yet. This new feature, it came out 2 weeks ago on web and literally last week for mobile. So this is brand new, you guys. I'm really, really excited to show this off. We have think of it as like a driving for dollars co-pilot inside DealMachine. So, like I mentioned with David, a big, limiting belief for him was that he just didn't necessarily always know what to do next. He didn't have the confidence to act, in the moment. And, really felt like he needed to know everything before he ever took action. Well, we've built a little AI assistant into DealMachine. Have you seen this at all, Trevor? I can't remember.
I saw it. I saw it on IG. It was cool. It was way cool.
Yeah, there you go, man. Yeah. So we're calling it Alma, which you've got like DealMachine above me right here. So you can.
Oh, that's where it came from. I was wondering where that came from. Okay.
There you go. Cool. So we're calling it Alma, but think of it as a real estate specialized AI assistant inside the app. So really kind of first of its kind to help you find off-market deals this way. It uses AI combined with just our crazy amount of off-market property data. And this is on DealMachine Pro. So if you're actually trying us out, make sure if you want to see the AI stuff, it's on DealMachine Pro right there. But it just gives you way more insightful and actionable steps than any other kind of AI out there, just because it, again, has all that data and access to stuff that you wouldn't normally have access to. So I want to show that in addition to as you're driving around and you're pinning properties like this, you can, again, click on a property. Let me find one that's, here we go, owner occupied. Click on that, and you'll see this bottom right corner right here is Alma popping up. So you can click on that and pull it up, and it'll say, hey, I'm Alma, your AI assistant for real estate. Still in the learning phase, so be patient with me. What do you want to know about this property? So this is where you can go in, and even if you've never used AI before, we want to give you they're called prompts, right? We want to give you these prompts right here to be able to easily understand what you're looking at, figure out hey, is this a good wholesale deal? Let me, analyze this property right here and click on a wholesaling, and it'll on the spot start to pull in data around, hey, what is the max allowable offer here? Let me calculate the ARV, the after repair value. Let me, include or look at the loan amount and compare those two things, and on the spot tell you, well, hey, the offer is bigger than the loan that's left on the property, so this could potentially be a good wholesale deal. It'll tell you that kind of on the spot and really calculate this as you go. So, here you go. It's showing you, okay, it's a positive number, might be worth reaching out if that's your end strategy. So it'll kind of assist you in this and really help you think through the numbers here, really help you think through from an offer perspective, kind of, don't want to get too far ahead of yourself, but being able to have data to act on and be confident in and understand, okay, is this potentially some, a good deal to continue moving on. So,
dude, one of the things I thought was cool about it, as I was looking at the other day, there's that feature in there where it could help you type up a text message for the seller. So one of the things that's really valuable, y'all, is when you're in front of that house, with driving for dollars, there's a couple things you can do. And Matt's probably gonna dive into this in detail. Send it direct mail, which is what you want to do for sure. And there's a follow-up process that you want to follow that we'll likely dive into. But then also you can text the person. Most of us, I won't answer a phone call, but I will answer a text message. So that sub 45, 55 demographic, likely, probably for sure 50, they're probably not going to answer your phone calls. So if it's the plus 55 or 65 demographic, they'll probably have a higher propensity to answer phone calls. But just like you did there, it's going to use AI to come up with a text message copy that you can click send to it. So listen, hey there, hey Matt here, real estate investor interested in your property here. Are you open to selling? Let's connect and chat more. Really simple. So you can just eliminate those barriers of what do I say and just start to get offers out. That's one of the biggest things that I think a lot of us have a hold up in is the what do I say? What do I say when I reach out? What do I say when I hop on a call? And this can kind of help eliminate some of the barriers there in the way.
There you go. And this is, and this is kind of a next iteration of that. If you didn't like that first version, hey, you can say, can you write me 5 more different options and be able to use that and really kind of, again, you can type in literally anything to be able to work with, but we give you these kind of 10 default prompts to get you started and start to have that conversation and then figure out from there, okay, is this a good deal to reach out on? And also, how do I reach out? So
very cool.
We'll really do a deep dive on that for the training number 2, really focused on marketing to those sellers. So we'll definitely get to that there, but a really good point of hey, we want to give you confidence in taking action this way too. So awesome. So knowing the map, knowing how to build your list of leads, knowing how to pin properties like that. One really common question we get is, okay, well, where should I start? What area should I choose to really start doing this? And so, one thing you can do is a couple different options. And what's awesome about Alma is where you really feel like you have kind of a real estate investing superpower is when you're using Alma in tandem with everything else that DealMachine can do. Those two things together is what makes it really useful. So, one option here, let's see if we can get an answer for this one. If you want to come in here and say, how should I choose a neighborhood? If I could type to drive $4. So it'll come in, you can kind of ask that general question and hey, here are some things to look for, property characteristics, like we've gone over, signs of being a motivated seller, location, market trends. So it'll kind of give you these ideas here. And, based on that, you could try to see if hey, are there any neighborhoods in St. Louis, which is where I'm at, with high rental demand? Let's see if we can get anything back here. So, one of the factors that it talked about. Yes, here's some ideas. Okay, based on that, think about Central West End. Think about Soulard. So it'll list out areas for you of, okay, well, hey, let me see what based on these factors, again, one of them was high rental demand. Other one was crime rate or economic growth, try to put in these different things to use data, use Alma to help guide you a little bit. So that's one awesome way to kind of figure out, okay, where should I start driving? Another piece that you can be using is our highlights button up here. And again, this is, if you have DealMachine Pro, this is with Pro right here. The highlights button, you click on that and you can go in here and use data to help figure out, okay, what are some really general areas that have houses that could be really good for driving for dollars here? So, a couple factors I would think about is maybe year built, click create a highlight and say, okay, show me houses that, the year built was on or before make it 30 years old, or no, we'll call it even older. Let's call it 1960s, on or before 1960. Show me properties that are single family. So you can go in here and say, and the property type is single family. And again, you've got tax and mortgage information you could be tapping into. You've got MLS information. So, we have the sold data for every single state, even the non-disclosure states in here. We've got, property information, square footage, bed, bath, that kind of stuff. Owner type. Is it vacant, absentee, out of state absentee? Does it have any liens? So you've got literally thousands of data points you can work with, but even just starting in a simple spot of you're, a little bit older and property type is single family, and maybe say like, okay, find me the, calculated total value is, greater than, we'll call it 100K. So that way we know that, it's in a certain price point, right? You can apply those highlights and you can see, is this a good neighborhood or not? Well, hey, I've only got a couple highlighted there, but if I scroll over here, maybe I'll see a few more highlights. Let me find this area. So if you scroll over here, let's see here. Yep, you're starting to see more and more highlights pop up.
I got you. That's cool.
As you kind of use this, you can use this as kind of a prospecting tool as well to figure out, okay, are these good areas that fit my criteria? And okay, let me find those blocks and those neighborhoods that fit the data that I'm looking for. So
is it the red on there is kind of the highlights, or is it?
Yep,
okay,
yep.
Cool.
Yep. So any of those that box in like that means, okay, they fit the criteria that you're looking for. So
very cool.
Yep. So, and Morgan, yes, we will be, I appreciate you guys jumping in the chat, helping each other out too. We will be sending out this replay. If you're watching on Webinar Jam, you're already getting the replay here. So, email that after this. I'll go through, so as you're adding these leads, a couple other quick pro tips here on what works extremely well for people. We do have a route tracking feature. So if you click on this, you'll see green, yellow, and red. That means when you drive, when it locks on your location, if I drive down Birmingham Avenue right here, you'll see a little green tail pop up behind me. And that means, hey, I can look at the map now and figure out where have I driven recently. And at 6 months, it's going to turn yellow. At a year, it's going to turn red. Like you will be able to look at the map and strategically understand, how do I never double back on my routes? How do I never, how do I choose new areas to drive in? You'll be able to kind of use that data to really inform you, okay, where should I drive and where should I be doing this? Especially if I have other people driving with me, how can I instruct them on other areas to drive? So route tracking, extremely, extremely helpful. If you want to go quickly adding leads, this map mode, there is a tap to add mode instead of pin mode. And that means that you can just literally tap on a house, tap on them, and they're going to start to pop up in your list of leads right there. So if you're in an area that's got, maybe some more distressed or more qualified leads, you can just drive down the street and boom, 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 just keep tapping to add and keep going. So tap to add always is super helpful. When you do add a lead there, one thing, and let me clear this for you guys. One thing that I do want to mention is when you add a lead, we see people taking pictures. Hold on, let me go to pin mode here. We see people adding tags and taking pictures on property. So when you hit add lead, you'll have the opportunity here to add tags or to take a picture of that property right there. And it'll pop up right away in the mobile app where, when you add a tag, you can say, hey, I want to mark this high priority because I was driving around, it was highlighted, maybe you were doing the highlights, or there was something that really triggered, hey, I need to focus on this property, sooner than later. Let me add that as high priority, and we'll talk about in a future training exactly how to filter those out and focus on those first. So, adding tags, taking pictures of the property, because when you add that property on the mobile app, it'll say, hey, do you want to take a picture of it too? And if you do that, when you are marketing to this lead, which again, we'll cover next week, when you market to this lead and send a postcard, the picture that you take on that postcard is going to appear, or the picture you take of that property is going to appear on the postcard, and that increases your response rate. So there's a couple of these kind of pro tips here of like little things that will increase that response rate and will give you a better chance to get that call back and have that conversation with them.
Dude, this is good stuff, man. So the little trail markers showing the path that you've driven, how often do you guys suggest that someone does go drive that same path? I'm looking at the red. I'm going, hey, I probably don't want to have it be 6 months or more because that's showing up red for me. But what are you guys suggesting there? Or I guess it wouldn't want it to be 12 or 24 months or more.
Right.
What is the ideal?
We recommend the yellow outline there. So if you see it's been 6 months, especially if you've done a deal in that area and it's clearly like, hey, this is a good area for me to be active in. Highly recommend once it turns yellow to revisit those areas and redrive them. So,
cool. And guys, one of the reasons this is so important right now in the market that we're in or heading into is there will be some more distress in the market, right? And none of us wish for that. None of us wish for a seller to go through a hard time. None of us wish for a seller to lose their job or whatever else is going to happen. But what we do wish for is that we have amazing people who can solve their problems, right? And so if we're able to then go through and recognize that we're likely going to have more distress happening in the market, one property that doesn't have distress today might in 6 months. And that's a perfect reason to kind of track back through that and make sure that you guys are really covering it really well. One mistake I'll see a lot of people make, especially people who are newer into the game, if you are on the newer side of it, is that they'll drive some neighborhoods, or they'll do SEO or Google pay-per-click or direct mail or whatever it is one time. It didn't get them a deal, and then they chalk it up and they go to the next thing. No, guys, keep on going through. Just cover the areas that you want to cover and make sure you're going through them at least every 6 months, 6 to 12 months. And that way, when that demand pops up, you're going to be the first one to be there, hopefully. Yep. Jake Freeland asked a couple good questions. What's the difference between red boxes and location markers? So from my interpretation, and this is me, Matt's going to answer it way better, but the reds were the criteria that you were laying out. Hey, a property that was, these dates, vacant property, whatever, it's going to identify these are the property blocks that fit those criteria. And then the big blue ones with the DealMachine logo, those are the ones you've actually added to your DealMachine as a property. So the system's going to start following up with it. And then the little tiny blue dot, what Matt was saying was those ones who are the ones that the data that DealMachine is pulling in are showing there's been an MLS event recently. It was sold, it was on the market and expired, something like that. So those are the main differences. Did I get that right, dude?
Yeah, you nailed it, man. There we go. I know I'm throwing a lot of stuff out there, so I appreciate you following along there. But and again, the highlights, it's using the data to kind of overlay the map. You can actually, we had Israel said, can you build a list from those highlighted properties? You can actually do that. That's what our list builder is right here, which that's the one add-on. If you are using DealMachine, you can add that on to unlock list builder. The thing about that is, yes, you can definitely use that. It's a really powerful tool, but those leads, you didn't go out and drive for dollars for those leads, right? You just use data to pull them. So it is going to take more. Typically, what we even see is 3 to 4 to 5 times more of those leads to get to a deal than driving for dollars to get to a deal. For those reasons that we highlighted earlier, if you drive around, you're finding really motivated sellers, because the house is, for whatever reason, not in great shape. And then also you're finding people who it's less competitive, those leads, because they're less likely to appear on a list that you can quickly pull. So we see people doing deals both ways. Is just go into it with that expectation that you're going to need to market to more of those leads through a list builder or through pulling a list than you will through driving for dollars. So great questions here. I just to kind of show off the last two things here, in the nitty gritty stuff. One of them is especially if you're on DealMachine Pro, you get 3 users on here, so you can add up to 2 other drivers, that can add to your driving team. And we could do a whole deep dive, advanced strategy class on that. But just to show that off briefly, you do have, if you click on the top right corner of your profile here, you can go to your team and then invite by email a driver here. And by doing that, you can give them different permissions. And for example, Elliot here, he can only add leads. He doesn't have access to all of my leads, and he doesn't have access to billing. But when you do that, then you can tell them, hey, Elliot, go out there, go drive, and add leads with me, and be a team here. And when you're doing that, you can also track their routes. So you can see this top right corner, the drives button. You click that drives, and it'll show you all of your past routes here. So you could say, hey, let me filter this by Elliot's routes, and I can see, hey, he drove, back in January, he added 21 leads. He drove 3.1 miles. He drove for 54 minutes, and here are the exact leads he added and the exact route he took. So it'll show that all right there for you to help you kind of coordinate this team and help you make it really easy to scale the strategy by adding other people. And we have people who are adding friends and family members all the way through to their, Uber drivers that they were in Uber with, to people who are, Amazon and Instacart drivers that are delivering things and already out already. Or, there are a lot of ways people are getting creative with that to kind of scale this strategy and build a team of people, looking for these types of houses. So.
Dude, that's one of the things I want people to think about too, kind of as we go throughout the challenge. I've got a model that I teach. I came up with it over the past decade called the Entrepreneur Freedom Formula. And the first, after you create your business and personal vision, then you create your business and marketing strategy, which is what we're helping you to kind of hone in that marketing strategy right now. As you get that spun up and it's working for you, then you need to buy your time back. So we don't kind of, go into the hustle and grind mode for too long. In the early days, you are going to be the one that we suggest, doing some of the work on your Carrot site or driving for dollars so you can learn it. But I want everyone in this call thinking about, okay, I'm going to master driving for dollars. I'm going to master getting the things going on Carrot. But eventually, if that doesn't give you energy and you don't love doing it, then we need to be thinking now, how am I going to scale this and bring on a team? And just like what Matt's saying here, you can start to build that team so other people can start to do the driving for you. But I would suggest starting it yourself, y'all. You can start cranking on it, just like Brian Rockwell did. Just take a different route from school to work every day. Get those going. Add the properties to the deal, and then as you go and you close your first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 deals, whatever it is, or you just don't have the time for it anymore, but it's working, start to find that right next driver for you. And during that time period, I would still drive. I wouldn't go cold turkey and go, man, I've got a new driver now, I'm going to stop it. I would still do some of that driving, make sure that they're doing good and they're driving the right routes and you can coach them well. So think about building that team and delegating right now.
Love that. Yeah. I think that's a great way to think about it too, is what gives you energy. What do you enjoy and gives you energy? Like that's your superpower to focus on. Right. So, so that's one way. And then final thing I do want to show off, if you are, say you're in a market that you aren't, say you're in a market you want to invest in, but you aren't physically located there, say you want to, invest across the US, or we have people who are all over the world that, are using it and can invest in the US this way. We cover all 50 states. So, so it's US based there for our data. We do have a virtual driving for dollars option where it's essentially clicking for dollars. It's fun. It's easy. It's something that, for whatever reason you can't drive in your market, whether you're not located there or, it's just bad weather, or you have a day job and you can't get out during the day and it's tough to drive around at night, or, maybe you have a VA that you hire to do this. They can click for dollars here for you. So, this start driving button up here, and you can do this on mobile or on desktop. And this is any, if you're on DealMachine starter, you get access to this too. You click on that and you jump into, click anywhere on the map and then hit start driving. That will jump you right into the street view right here, where you can start to essentially, like you would in real life, drive for dollars virtually. Click down the street, it'll track your route just like it would, in real life right here. So, you can see that on the, the bottom right there, and click around and look for look for, again, those signs of distress, look for houses that, don't fit or that do fit that criteria. And if you see a property right there, you can just hit add lead and move on to the next one. So very similar strategy there. But doing that, all virtual is pretty cool. I mean, I think like the major difference, like the one big pro tip I can share is, hey, make sure to compare when that photo was taken to when that house was last sold. Like if I'm going to look at a house right here and see that, okay, this house was, let me go down here for a little better view. I click on a house and say, okay, yeah, this house was sold. Let's see here, last in 2016. And, the last picture was taken May 2022, then, okay, cool. Now you know that, hey, whoever was owning the property in this picture, they still own the property. If you find a house that, maybe the pictures are a few years old, but the house is, not in good shape and it hasn't sold in, 15, 30 years, like, hey, that could still be a good lead, even though that picture is older, just because it has not transacted since then. And the person that owned it when that photo was taken still owns it. So that's the one pro tip I would share, is compare the last sale date to, when the picture was taken on Google Street Image.
Dude, that was cool how you pulled it up and it showed the date of when Google took that shot. That was the thing that was popping up in my mind, is going, okay, so if I want to hit those routes every 6 to 12 months when they're yellow, how often, if I'm doing virtual driving for dollars, how often is the Google thing updated, so then I can know and see a more recent version. So that one there shows that was about a year or so. Do you know, Matt, how often does Google update the Street View photos?
So it really depends on the market. The more major markets, like top 50 markets, I'd say it's every year or two. It's pretty often. But the more rural markets it's going to be a little less than that. And some of them can be older. So it does kind of depend on your market too. So maybe jump in on the virtual. And if you're going to invest somewhere, kind of look and see when those photos were last taken to qualify that area and then get going, So
cool. That makes sense. I like it.
Awesome. So that's the main crash course right there in terms of actually building that list, getting out there. You want to be thinking about, just pinning those leads, pinning those properties, using highlights, using Alma to help pick an area, using Alma to help you analyze the property, figure out is it a good deal to begin with. Be able to add drivers if you can, virtually drive for dollars, all that. Again, I went through all that, and we're going to be sending out this replay here for you guys, either later tonight or tomorrow morning. So make sure if you're watching on social media, if you're watching on YouTube or Facebook, make sure to go in there and go to that carrot.com/14DC at the bottom right there. That's where you will automatically be added to the email list, and you'll be getting these reminders, getting the homework, getting the giveaway, all of that stuff is on that email list. So make sure to go in there, afterwards. So is there anything, Trevor, before I jump into the homework itself, is there anything else that you wanted to cover on the list building side?
Dude, it's a good question. There's a couple of thoughts I've gotten, guys and gals who are on live. If there's any questions, pop them through now, because what we want to make sure that you guys have is no questions when you leave here, okay? Because all of y'all are investing some good time and energy into this training, into this 14-day challenge. And while this is the starting of it, and we added a lot of context at the start to help you kind of build that vision and strategy frame, we are going to be giving tactics. And the last thing I want you doing is tomorrow going, so what were the next steps? Or I'm going to go build that list now. I'm not sure which ones I click. So if we were to give people something, Matt, and maybe this is in the homework, if so, let me know. But if we were to give people, hey, these might be some of the criteria when you're building those the criteria for the highlights. These are some of the criteria that you may use to start to find some areas of town. Are there any primary ones that you guys suggest to people that tend to work best to find motivated properties?
Absolutely. Yeah. I'd say first and foremost, you want to look at property type. So just showing this in the app really quick here for you, if I can switch this back over. Property type, if you're looking single family home, I mean, maybe some people on here are thinking multifamily or multiple units. You do have that option too, but when you click highlights, I would say starting off and saying property type is first and foremost where I would begin, because it's just the broad kind of qualifier for single family. So you can start there. I mean, we have, again, everything from like vacant land to, you can even say unit count and all kinds of stuff. But just for the sake of this, I'd say property type, single family. I would also include year built again, because it's more likely you're finding a neighborhood that's a little bit older. That's going to be a good qualifier there to know that, hey, maybe there's more opportunity to find a house that is that value add that does need some fixing up. So, year built, and I'd say at least 30 years ago is what I would err with. So, is always before 1993. So confirm that. Value. So if like what kind of price point you're looking at, like calculated total value, that's for sure one that I think is a good one to be thinking about. And then either something around equity or sale date. Like you could say, hey, last sale date, either on the MLS or county records is before, we'll say 15 years ago. So that way that, hey, this property has been owned by the same person for at least 15 years. That's another one that I think is really, really solid to be able to help you think through, okay, single family homes that were built a little while ago, have been owned for a while, and, have kind of all that overlap to help you pick an area, of a certain value. So
I like it. And guys, if there's any other questions, there are some questions. We'll answer those ones here in a bit after he gives you the homework. And so if there are any specific questions, guys, keep them popping in live. But I think that's it right there, dude. That's enough to get people going. And guys, the mental mindset shift is that I always like to say is just add value to the actions you're already taking. So a lot of people go, I don't have time to do whatever. If you're starting your business, I don't have time to do this. When am I going to do this? With DealMachine, it's crazy easy, because literally you just get the app and you add properties while you're already driving and doing the errands you're already doing. So take a different route from work to home. If you're dropping your kids off at school, maybe leave 5 minutes earlier now and then take a little bit of a different route and hit a different street there. When you're going on lunch, going a jog or a walk or a drive, and just really explore the town. So start to shift into that mindset. Yeah, one of the things I love about driving for dollars as a newer investor is one of the things you have to do as a newer investor is you have to understand your neighborhoods. You have to understand the value of the neighborhoods. You have to understand which neighborhoods are probably going to be the better ones to be able to find deals and help serve people in. And what better way to do it than actually driving in those neighborhoods, looking at them, and adding properties to it. So a lot of people get stuck there and go, how do I know what value I should be offering? Guys, drive the neighborhoods. Look at the data in the app, add properties, have conversations with sellers, fail a little bit. As you do, you will hone in what the values will be. You won't hone that in if you're just kind of sitting back waiting for the values to come to your mind. So get in the markets and add value while you're using the DealMachine app.
Yeah, and that's something too. Again, I know I mentioned like, hey, if you're using DealMachine, awesome. Like that's why we've built it to make this effective, efficient, and scalable. But regardless, like you do, I mean, again, we talk about all the time, like, hey, you can do this by hand as well. You've got alternative options too. So regardless of what situation you're in, hey, we want to give you guys, again, we'll share some bonuses here to make it really easy to get started and try it out. But no matter what, like use this free playbook, get out there and take some action. So that's where the homework came from, is to really get you guys to that 100 number right here. So come in here and again, that's the number that when we look at the data, you are disproportionately likely to succeed if you can hit that first threshold. Like that is a big barrier to get through, get to that 100 lead list, get to that where if you can complete this, especially before next Wednesday, the next training that we get on here, which again, make sure to pay attention to your email for the timing. I know you already registered for it if you're in Webinar Jam. So make sure to validate that timing of when we're going live. But next week on Wednesday, we're going to be going through and holding you accountable and saying, hey, build that list of 100 driving for dollars leads. And that's it. That's the goal for this first week. Is take this training, maybe rewatch the replay, get some pro tips down, really try to figure out like what are those shortcuts that can make it easier and more effective for me to do this and take less time. But the first goal with this homework is get out there, build a list of 100 leads. If you do that and you turn in the homework, which again, pay attention to your email. We're going to be emailing out that homework or the way to submit it. If you submit that homework, you are going to be qualifying for a prize that it's over $1,700. Sorry, which is awesome. It's a bunch of stuff from us, from Carrot, all put together, all wrapped up in a package here for you guys. Ferris, there will be a free trial here that you guys can use for this. So I will get to that here in just a minute, but wanted to make sure that if you're on social watching this, make sure to register for that deal or that carrot.com/14DC to be on the list here. And that's how you're going to be able to turn in the homework throughout this entire thing. So, we're excited to be able to give you guys that and give away just a ton of free stuff over this. What's to come? So again, these next 14 days, this is day 1, 2 more live trainings. So each Wednesday, we're going to be going live. We've got this first one here, another one next Wednesday. It's all about marketing to your list. It's all about what to do with those 100 leads, how to reach out to them, how to get their attention. You have the homework in the meantime. We're going to have giveaways. We're going to be doing, sending out pro tips, doing all kinds of stuff via email. So make sure to pay attention to that. And then finally here, Trevor, do you want to talk about kind of what that 30-day authority challenge is following these 14 days?
Dude, for 100%. So one of the first things we wanted to do with the DealMachine side of it, or driving for dollars side of it, is once again giving something that you can take crazy quick action on and get quick momentum on. Okay. But then the next part of it is, how do we then build what we call evergreen marketing that really continues to build momentum over time and is among the most, if not the most motivated types of leads, especially when you mash the two together. And when you're getting those 100 properties into DealMachine or documenting them manually, if that's the route you want to go, then we need to make sure we're putting our best foot forward. So when someone reaches out to us and we're talking to them and they're doing that Google search, just like all of us do before we buy anything, that you're putting your best foot forward, not just with a website, right? Anybody can set up a Wix site, put some things on it, even model what a Carrot site looks like. But we've been looking at the data pretty heavily, and we're looking at what are the things that are actually mattering right now to turn it from someone has a website to someone has a high-performing website that builds trust and leads to a higher ratio of your leads turning into a deal. And so the 30-day challenge that we have the authority building challenge really walks you through how do you build that what we call core conversion pages out on your site correctly, to be able to make it so when you get someone landing on your site, it's going to convert them to a deal at a much higher rate. Now, there's a guy named Carter Steff. He's an experienced investor, but we see this happening a ton with newer ones as well. Largest home buyer in Oklahoma City. He already had a really good custom WordPress website. He spent a bunch of money on it with a local web developer, and he was getting leads from it. Most of his leads came from offline marketing. When he started to see the leaky bucket that it was, and the opportunity that we showed him to add better credibility in the right ways with a better flow on his website, he made the leap over, structuring things the way that we structure them on that challenge. And he actually added $20,000 a month in new revenue to his business with no new marketing. Literally no new marketing. It was just the people who were already seeing his radio and TV commercials already going to the internet. The only thing that changed was what was actually being displayed on his website. Okay, so he added $200,000 plus a year new revenue just by converting his existing marketing better. And so that's what we're going to be focused on, that 30-day challenge, is helping you make a much better use of all the marketing you're doing with Driving for Dollars, any other marketing resource. And it kind of my thought there always is like, if you are losing one deal a year because of underperformance on your website, and your average profit per deal in your market, let's say, is a $15,000 wholesale deal, you're losing 15 grand in real money that should be yours because we're not paying attention to this part of it. So how many of those leads and deals are we okay with losing every year because we haven't dialed in the online presence as well as we should? So that's what we focus on there. And I'll be touching on it a little bit in week 3 as well.
Yeah, you guys are truly a wealth of knowledge, man. The amount of like help that you give people and content you put out there is just so impressive. So I love doing this with you. And then again, as you go through this, these 14 days are to get you kicked off and started quickly. And then those 30 days are how to build long-term from there and feed them on into each other. So really excited to do that. Do you want to explain? I know you had you touched on a little bit of this, but you want to kind of walk through this here for people too?
Yeah, so I'll kind of unlock this thought process. Once again, I'm a big momentum guy, and momentum, you feel good when you're in positive momentum, and I think we all start to get anxious and don't feel as good when we're stagnant or kind of slipping backwards. And a lot of people, when I talk to them, if they're a newer investor or even the most experienced ones, whenever we're in that mode where we feel like we're in the grind or we feel like we're kind of stressed out by the business, it's usually when we're in what I call the boom and bust cycle, right? You have a bunch of good leads coming in while you're working them, what I call hamster wheel marketing, meaning marketing that only works when you do this activity, right? When you send out the direct mail blast to a big list, or when you pick up the phone and call. And even on Driving for Dollars, there's an element of hamster wheel, like someone has to be physically doing the actions, right? But the cool thing about hamster wheel is it's immediate. Just like if you picture yourself getting on this hamster wheel, you start walking, it immediately gives you feedback. Now, when you look with the online side of things, with ranking high in Google for Google Organic, which are the highest quality leads, the highest profit margin, highest converting, it takes a while. Okay, that's more kind of like this big old boulder is sitting here, and you see this hill up there, and you're like, dude, when I get to the top of that hill, I'm going to push it over, and it's just going to start rolling by itself, and I can sit back here and watch it roll and watch it do the work. But it's some work to get up to the top of the hill, okay? But once you do, it starts doing the work for you. And so I always want to have people have that mindset of mixing the right level of hamster wheel marketing to get really quick momentum and help to build scale, but de-stress and add consistency and predictability with the evergreen marketing over time. And so what we're doing here, guys, is helping you get quick results with Driving for Dollars, and then helping you shift that mindset to go, okay, I don't have to be on this hamster wheel all the time. I can have someone else get on the hamster wheel for me to be a driver for me while I then go shift over to building evergreen marketing. So now you've got both running simultaneously. And now we've eliminated the boom and bust in our income and added consistency and growth, which is really what gives us that freedom and impact in our businesses. So we're going to be aiming to get you guys in that green bubble on the right, not the yellow bubble on the left.
Love that, man. Yeah, that's great stuff. So I think, that's kind of our goal, like you said, with this challenge and then back to back there. I'm seeing some really good questions in the chat, so keep those coming. I'll keep marking them as Q&A, and we'll make sure to get to those at the end. For everyone, before people have to jump off here, I do want to share, we do have 2 kind of special deals for you guys, one from DealMachine and one from Carrot. So on our end, if you do want to try out DealMachine, we give you that 7-day free trial. again, you go through that, beyond that, it would be an investment in yourself and being able to go and run with it, from there. But regardless, we're giving you that free playbook, that free knowledge right here to take action on. Try out DealMachine to see if it helps you to execute on that quicker and more efficiently, and see if that's worthwhile for you. I know on our end, we're really proud to say we're, again, like that highest rated, most reviewed app out there for investors to go drive for dollars like this. So we're really, really lean on that in terms of what makes us different. But I think I put that offer here in the chat on both the social media and on Webinar Jam here. So it's dealmachine.com/carrot to do that 7-day free trial, and then get a bunch of free marketing in the app. So that way, for next week, we're going to be teaching you again how to dig in and be able to send skip trace, postcards, all that stuff. And it's going to be covering a lot of that for you as well. So on the DealMachine front, and we have that for you guys. On the Carrot side, do you want to mention kind of how this would work as well, Trevor?
Yep. On the Carrot side, guys, to kind of pair the two together, what we're doing is our middle plan, our Content Pro plan, which gives you the ability to launch high converting websites, gives you some of our really amazing support, some of our marketing tools and things like that, which we're not going to go into that today. But we're actually going to give you a free tuition to our 30-day challenge. So our 30-day challenge is daily, short bite-sized activity and inspiration every single day for 30 days. I suggest you don't start it until we're done here. So the way that we've got them is we have one coming up in June. And so we'll wrap up this challenge here, get your first 100 properties put into the Driving for Dollars system, start to get some momentum. Once again, cross your fingers that there's the possibility that you can get a deal under contract even with those 100, but the math shows that we should be adding some more, of course. But then that next 30 days, you'll be able to dive in and do the authority building challenge. So we're going to give you that challenge for free. It's normally $100. We run it every single month. We have dozens and dozens, sometimes hundreds of people that join it. You'll be in it with a cohort of other investors as well. So we're going to give you that for free. All you have to do is dive in and sign up for the Pro or the Content Pro membership, which is in the middle, and that will equip you with the tool to be able to build out that authority. So DealMachine.com/30DC, DealMachine.com/30DC, and it's $100 today, no payments for a month. We give you the 30-day challenge completely for free, and we're going to dive in and roll up our sleeves on it. I would suggest to not sign up for that until after this challenge is done, so that clock is ticking, in about 7 to 14 days after you've really focused on this homework here.
There we go. And so I'll leave this up here for you guys. We have both QR codes. This is the DealMachine free trial on the left side for 7 days with the $30 free in the app. That's the Carrot, free 30-day authority challenge there. It's worth $99 value there. So either side, I'll leave that up. Happy deal finding. Go out and do, start doing these deals, follow up with that homework, and let's answer some questions, man. So excited to do this here for you. Let's see. So Kendon, if you have the pro plan already, email me direct, just matt@dealmachine.com, and I can hook you up with a little bit of extra. Here you go. And I'm assuming you mean DealMachine Pro. If you have Carrot Pro, I'm not sure. But if it's DealMachine Pro, email me direct, and we can try to hook you up with a little bit of a bonus here to help get you going on that free marketing credits. So
heck yeah. And if it was Kendon, if it was you're already on the Content Pro plan for Carrot, same thing. Hit me up, Trevor@carrot.com. And because you're a part of this training and part of this challenge, we'll comp you the next 30-day challenge in June. So that's our gift to you. If you're already a Carrot member at the Content Pro level or above, if you're a Carrot member at Core, you've got to upgrade to Content Pro. And then once you confirm that with me, I'll comp you that tuition for the next challenge as well. So we got you. Cool. Yeah, dude, hit me up right there, Kendon. And what we'll do is we'll enroll you in the June one. Free because you're in this challenge with us. That's the reward you get for showing up live and asking good questions. And I'm pumped to work with you next month in that challenge.
Fantastic. All right. So I'll try to start going through these. Let's see. Can we see the highlights in the app or only on desktop is what I'm guessing from Agata here. You can see it on the app or desktop. That highlights feature I was showing off works on either. Make sure you're on DealMachine Pro to get that and to get the Alma, the AI assistant. And for that 7 days free of DealMachine, you can do Pro, you can do Starter, you can do Teams if you're going to go build a huge Driving for Dollars team. So that's any plan there will be part of that 7 day free trial right there. So let's see, the best areas to drive for dollars, Ferris. I know we covered that earlier on, so make sure to check out that replay here. But it was using Alma, you can ask that question, or using our highlights button. Can really kind of use the data to overlay the map right there. And those broad criteria that we were talking about here just a few minutes ago can help kind of guide you and figure out, okay, what's an entire neighborhood that's lighting up that's got this data overlay right there. And that'll help you kind of pick, a good area to start driving, today. So let's see. Peyton asked the pro content plan. Can you cover that one more time really quickly, Trevor?
Yeah, for sure. And we'll probably touch on more of the carrot specific things in week 3 of this. And so I'll save on some of that a little bit there. But high level is this. If you're looking to not just get online, because anybody can get online, right? Like you can go to Wix, you can go to Upwork, you can go to Squarespace, whatever. Anybody can get online. That's a commodity today. Okay. It's not about getting online. It's about getting online in a way that is actually going to convert and perform at a high level in a way that Google loves it. When you Google search a phrase like "sell my house fast," insert whatever city or state, which is one of the top phrases a motivated house seller is going to type in. Carrot sites overwhelmingly dominate that. All other site systems, including custom WordPress sites, are far behind the number of websites that rank high in Google, and more online leads come through the Carrot system than any single system in the world for motivated house sellers. So, with that said, the Content Pro system gives you the ability to launch several websites if you wanted to. You can go after cash buyer leads or motivated house seller leads or land leads, which are a big one that's popping right now. We have our Carrot Camp event starting next week. A guy named Moho Matt. Name is Matt B, and he's nicknamed himself Moho Matt, or someone did, but he's a mobile home guy, and he uses Carrot using our mobile home templates to attract a lot of mobile home leads, and he does about $500,000 a year just on flipping mobile homes using our system, all 100% online. So you'll be able to launch high converting websites, have weekly coaching calls, group coaching calls with our company, our access to our community, and then leverage our search engine optimization tools that are inside the system. Now, we do have a plan that's the advanced marketer plan that unlocks more of the advanced search engine optimization and marketing tools. But I suggest is starting with the Content Pro plan. So it'll get you launched with the website, amazing support, and the ability to launch several sites to go after different types of leads if you want.
Great overview there. A couple more quick DealMachine questions I see here. One from Leslie. I know you said, does that DealMachine have CRM functionality? We have some features that I would kind of categorize it as a little bit of a CRM light. Like you can, do a task for yourself. You can take notes on a lead. There's a little bit like a lead status right there.
Mm-hmm.
So there are pieces of it like that. I know Carrot's got a ton of stuff on that, like much more deep functionality than we do there. So I think that's another thing that'll feed into each other really, really well as we touch on that a little bit at the end, that week 3, that final live training, and get you guys geared up for that 30-day challenge with Carrot specifically. So,
yep, that's perfect. Kind of my advice with CRMs, guys, is use whatever you've got that is just no cost at the start that can help you do the basics. DealMachine has an amazing, simple CRM. Carrot has a very simple CRM. And then we bought a company called InvestorFuse recently too. That's the more robust, like pro level CRM, especially if you're building a team. But dude, what I would start with is a lot of newer investors will buy all the tools for like, someday I'll need this. And kind of going back to Brian Rockwell, he's just on my mind today for some reason. When he came to his first Carrot Camp event and he did $600K his first year, 100% online, except for the Driving for Dollars revenue that got him kicked off. People are asking, Brian, what CRM to use? He literally picked up his yellow notepad and he said, this in my whiteboard. He goes, I know I've lost some deals this year for sure because I'm not following up on the stuff good, but it was good enough to make $600,000 in year 1 with a notepad and a whiteboard. So leads would come in, he'd be writing all these notes. He'd have the very basic Carrot lead manager where he can get that. But then he'd put the ones up on the board after he had a conversation to say, and split it up. Hey, I had a conversation, made an offer, accepted or not, and then closed or not. And so just start really simple, y'all. And then as you're generating so many leads that you can't handle it and you can't stay on the follow-up like he was starting to do towards the end of the year and realizing you're losing a lot of money by having it slip through the cracks, then go invest in a bigger CRM. So start with whatever you've got, or start with DealMachine's simple CRM or Carrot's simple one. And you can always upgrade to a really advanced CRM like an Investor Fuse later. Save some money, put that money into marketing at the start.
Yep. That's a great way to think about it. When you're driving around, it does also map your routes there. So maybe watch that replay again there too, and to really see like the route tracking and all of that. Try to outline that for you guys here too. And again, we will email out the replay tonight or tomorrow morning to make sure that you guys can review this and start taking action right now, and start following up on that homework. And then last one on the webinar jam, unless anybody else comes through with questions here. Kendon, I saw a couple people ask this. Compare DealMachine to a prop stream.
Yep.
That one specifically, so it really depends on your approach. I would say driving for dollars is really what we're known for. It's something that we have built the technology to help you scale, and I think our driver management piece of it too is very unique and robust compared to anything else out there. Also our mobile app, like that's really where we pride ourselves, is our mobile technology, and we're always evolving it, and our support team on there responds in 5 minutes or less. So there's a lot of little individual things that I can point to. I mean, I think even if you do our starter plan, it's only $59 a month. So that's one of the cheapest things out there, I think, really in general for real estate tech to be able to do this kind of thing. But the most objective thing I can point to is really that, I know I mentioned it, I'm bragging on my team a little bit here, but like our highest rated, like our customer ratings and reviews, it's like a 4.8 or 4.7, depends on if you're Android or iOS, out of 5, over like 5,000 plus reviews on both of them. So we really lean on our customers to do the talking for us. And I think like that objectively is really what we point to in general of what makes us unique. So hopefully that helps you there.
Good work, man. This is the kind of stuff that pumps me. I could hop on trainings for 7 hours a day. And the cool thing is I didn't have to lead this training, and you crushed it, Matt. Brought so much value. And man, I appreciate you. Number one, just doing what you guys do in this industry, because that's one of the reasons we love working with y'all is it is kind of like peanut butter and jelly, right? You've got the offline side, the best leads you can possibly get offline. And then you've got the best leads you can possibly get online, with Carrot and DealMachine. When you pair them together, you maximize your marketing ROI. So I'm so pumped to be able to partner with you guys on this. 2 more sessions ahead, which I'm pumped too, because one thing I'm doing, Matt, is in this cycle. So I've always been a buy and hold guy. In the history, I own several of the buildings downtown here in Little Roseburg, Oregon, commercial buildings with residential up top. We're putting apartments there and retail downstairs, and I own some apartment buildings. But one thing I want to start to get into in this next market cycle is getting my hands a lot more dirty in the actual single family side of it. And so that's one thing that popped up. I'm like, dude, I'm going to get DealMachine myself. Amazing. And just start to drive around Roseburg, Oregon, a town of 25,000 people, which I could probably map that thing out. Like every month I can drive through the whole town. So it'll be interesting, kind of fun to kick it up on my own too.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, we're extremely excited to partner up with you guys. And again, I mean, I know we've done some stuff in the past together this way, but you guys just bring so much value to the table. And again, like I know we're getting you on that fast start these first 14 days, but make sure you get excited for those next 30 with Carrot as well through that authority challenge. So I just checked. It's next Wednesday at 4:45 Eastern time is going to be the next one. So a little bit later, but next Wednesday, make sure, again, if you're on social media, go to carrot.com/14DC. Make sure you go there and you're signed up. In the meantime, pay attention to your email, because we're going to send out the replay, the homework, tell you how to turn that in, pro tips throughout this whole thing. So we got a lot of fun stuff lined up for you. Hopefully you can win one of those giveaways. And, the real prize here throughout this whole thing is starting to do deals. So you'll walk away with this, with the playbook and the technology you need. But beyond that, like, hey, you're set up for long-term success here. So excited to do this again next week.
I like it. See you guys next week. Thanks, Matt. Appreciate you, man.
Thanks, everybody.
Yep.